have to be a little bit careful when you open up your photos on the Mac. If I just double click on a file, so if I check in here under captures, I've got just one image here at the moment. If I open this photo up and just double click on it, it will open up the preview program. Okay, this is the free Mac built-in program for just previewing images. I can do quick zooming in or out. I can do cropping and selection, a couple of basic things here, but I can't do anything too fancy. Good if you want to open up and print out. So we want to quit that. We want to open up the image in Photoshop. So I can drag and drop it onto Photoshop, or from within Photoshop I could ask for File and Open. But there we are. Now I've got an image in here. Okay. You'll notice on the website here I've added in a section at the home page for tutorials. This is a quick link that will take you to Adobe TV. These are video tutorials on all of Adobe's different products are listed here, but this is a link specifically for the ones related to Photoshop CS4. So a lot of the material that we're covering here you can find in good targeted lessons on specific topics here that you can find. So check those out at some point. Under the projects, the iSilhouette project is here. Have a look at the actual handout again for it quickly. There is a fairly specific size listed here for the actual picture. So later on we're going to have to make sure that the dimensions of our picture match this. You should have worked on the definitions already by now. That will be of help for you here as we start to talk about Photoshop, particularly masking and layers. When you start working in Photoshop, you may want to hide some of the items that are on your desktop just to be able to have things a little less cluttered. So tapping the letter F on your keyboard will switch between a full screen mode here, where you actually get rid of all your menus altogether, or back to windowed mode so I can see everything else that would be open at the moment. This might be helpful if I still want to see my assignment while I'm working on the image next to me. Or my preferred one is usually this gray background one. The gray background helps keep a neutral background. So when you're evaluating color, looking against a neutral gray background is always better than a colored background might skew your vision. Okay, let's try this one. So I'm going to switch to this image in Photoshop. This is fairly typical of the images that I'll find a lot of you with. We've got an area here that's in green. That's going to be an easy image to separate from the background. By that I mean at some point we need to be able to peel up the silhouette, the black silhouette, and get it off this background so we can change the background. Where we're going to run into more challenges with the photo is in this area here, because now we don't have the nice green edge. It's overlapping onto the floor. So we've got to tell Photoshop and define the area that we want to keep. So really the easiest way to do that with the image right now is just to paint a little bit with a green paintbrush and just get that same green color going all the way around. It'll make our life a whole lot easier later. Couple of quick tips in Photoshop when you're getting started. You may want to head to the window menu at the top and under workspace ask for the essential or default workspace. That will reset all of these different palettes on screen to the default positions you see here, just so that your screen matches up. This is the main toolbar here, and if we hover over top of any of these tools, it will pop up the name of the tool. You'll also see a letter in brackets right after the name of the tool. So for eyedropper, if I tap the letter I on the keyboard, it will switch to the eyedropper. If I hover over the type tool, if I tap T, I'll switch to the type tool. The hand tool is a very common one to get to know at the beginning. This will let you navigate over your image. I can also drag this red square in the navigator menu here. The magnifying glass tool will either let me zoom out. Right now I see a magnifying glass with a minus, that's zoom out. If I hold down the Apple key or the Option key in the keyboard rather, it switches to a plus. I can also do that here. I can zoom in, zoom out. So if I look around this image, incidentally, holding down the space bar too while you're in the magnifying glass tool will switch to the space bar, and that works in a number of different tools. So space bar, I can quickly take the hand and look, and I can see, okay, here I don't see the green anymore. So there is a paintbrush tool, or a brush tool, I can see it right here on the palette, and I can pick a different size and edge definition for the brush. I'm going to go for a fairly hard edge brush, maybe not perfect 100% hardness, but close to, and fairly big. And that circle I see there will be about the size of my brush. That might be just slightly big. And now to pick up that green color, I simply hold down the Option key on the keyboard, and you'll notice I get an eyedropper. I could also come over and pick the eyedropper and sample that green color. Or again, I can stay with the brush and just sample colors quickly. And I know which color I'm going to be painting with. This is one that's defined by the small color chip here. Okay, it's also showing up here under color as I'm sampling here. Option click, you can see the different colors. So I'll start with the green, and now when I click and hold my finger down, I am painting on the image with green. If I make a mistake here, let's say I took a little bite out of the leg I didn't mean to, you may just want to ask for edit and undo and go backward a step. If it was 1 or 2 steps back when you did it, you might have to pick up, with the brush tool still, pick up the color black and just fill back over it. Okay? Yep.
You can even change the brush tool to be from normal to darker color, which then will paint out, won't touch the black, but it'll touch the gray instead.
Yep. Yep. There are ways to custom define the brushes to affect only certain toned areas. Not essential for now though. It's probably just good practice to pick up that same green color and practice working your way all around. So you're going to have to get all the way down around toward the foot. And rather than holding down the mouse for a long time and making a lot of back and forth strokes, better to do it in short, smaller sections, because then you can go back and undo fairly easily. Like there, it didn't work out, so I can quickly undo and go back. Okay. Photoshop also has a history palette. These are different palettes at the side that show you different features and options. Here's the history palette that's not up right now, but history palette will keep track of steps individually all the way back in time, usually about 25 steps by default. Okay? You can change that up in here too under history options. So work your way all the way around with green. Realize that you are actually painting on your original photo. So at this point, rather than saving the document, I would ask for save as, okay, and save this with a newer file name. And at this point, it's probably best just to add your first name and your last name and call it Working Silhouette, okay, or Working Image. Keep track of where you save your files so that you can get at them. Back them up after every period when you're working. Save your work regularly so that if the power kicks out, you're not going to be totally out of luck. Okay. Questions about this assignment so far?